it doesn't matter what we think because we're not the artists doing it, right? And changing kind of the language of how we talk about things being good or bad or right or wrong could be beneficial for everybody.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to be a reaction of Morgan James with Postmodern Jukebox singing Dream On. So it's an Aerosmith cover with a jazz band. Pretty freaking cool.
So they got a stand-up bass, a cello, and either two violins or maybe a viola and a violin, drummer,
pianist. And then Morgan James is like, she's just a phenomenal singer. I first found Morgan James on a Broadway, I forgot what it's called, but it was like a Broadway.com interview. And she was touring with Godspell at the time. And she was singing coloratura runs in a classical way and then as Mariah Carey. And it was hilarious and so incredibly insane. So I loved her ever since then. And then she switched, she left the Broadway world and now she's in like the jazzy, bluesy, modern music world. And we're just all here for it, okay? So today we are excited. Chase has no idea what he's in for. I have no idea what I'm in for. Which is even better because I haven't seen this performance, but I've heard great things. It has like 25 million views.
And you've seen her sing and remember her sing. So I'm just excited.
Oh, okay. Let's feast our ears.
Face getting clearer. The past is gone. It went by like dusk to dawn.
Wow. Obviously, because we know a little bit of background,
right? It
flavors our kind of interpretation a bit, or my ear. Like when I hear her do certain things, I know
it's
that
on purpose.
That's on purpose. That's an effect that she's going for.
Right. So what I was explaining to Chase before we started filming was that I know she went to Juilliard and I know she was classically trained, and then she went to Broadway. So then she had musical theater background, and now she's in a more contemporary jazz style place. So because we know her, you know, training background, her singing background a little bit more than most people we react to, we are definitely like influenced by that when we listen. But what were you going to say? Like, what kind of rules do you think she's breaking, or what things do you notice that made you kind of...
I'd have to listen again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. We'll just go to the intro. We'll, you know, try to keep it quick.
Every time I look in the mirror.
All right. Those were all really good things. Every time I look, she keeps all the way through a really consistent airflow. And this is something that, you know, a lot of people, you can break this rule, of course, but it's a good rule of thumb, you know, just to say, or, you know, something to try to do all the time, unless you mean not to, is having constant, every time I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is those vowels.
Oof.
Look, look, look. It's not look, look versus look, look.
Yeah.
It's tough to make that kind of shape, but it's a really efficient vowel. In the mirror, she's singing mirror, right? Yeah. She's not saying mirror or mirror. Mirror. You know, mirror, right? Yeah. She's singing on an not on the right? This is one of those things that separates amateurs from professionals, that she kind of, this is her instinct. You know, this is going to be an instinct for a lot of singers to kind of, you know, not hit that R very hard, but you'll hear a lot of more inexperienced singers kind of mirror. Right.
Well, and it's just, it's kind of what aids to the resonance of your voice, right? Like knowing those things and like having that instinct comes from years and years and years of singing and practicing and all of these things.
It becomes a habit.
It becomes a habit. And so we're not even saying that, like, you know, all new singers are bad, or some people have supernatural instincts too. But I think that what we know and notice from just the first few lines is that because we know she is, you know, a career-long singer, and we're kind of listening for those things, we can point out to you what would help you stand out as a great singer. You know what I mean?
You know, how to clean up your singing a little bit, because it's just small things.
Yeah.
It's really small things.
It is small things.
And they're really easy to overlook and
Absolutely.
really easy not to notice.
Absolutely.
But then there's something about that. It's
There's
like
something about
when you
that.
listen to somebody who's just really a pro, you're like, oh man, there's something about what they do that
Right.
makes it so powerful.
Like, she hasn't even done anything super impressive yet,
really
right?
excited.
So I'm excited.
All these lines on my face getting clearer. The past is gone.
So that was a rule breaking, right?
Okay.
Past. That's S and T
Mhm.
are not something I would typically sing on. The past is gone. I would keep them short. That's my instinct, right? But as an artist, you get to make the choice on what, you know, how you want to communicate what you're singing.
Yeah.
And so that would be an example of her breaking the rules,
Right.
right? There's not really rules in
Right.
art, right? But that's something that I would
We talk about a
say,
lot.
you
We
know,
talk about singing on the vowel
those
and
are the
not singing on the
habits.
consonants.
Yeah, those are the habits that I think people
Yeah.
get into. But you know, she really kind of stretched that out because that's part of the effect she's trying to pull off.
Absolutely. I also loved that run that she just did.
Gone.
But
she
she
changed
didn't
her
do.
vowel.
She didn't do. So typically, Aerosmith does gone. She didn't do a slide.
She did.
She did like a run.
portamento.
Yeah, it was there. I think there was even. Let's listen to it.
Listen to it.
The past is gone.
Oh.
It went by like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues to pay.
Was that a little under, or was
That
that
was
the
a little-
band? I couldn't tell if it
I
was like
think-
them or her.
I think she was in and then a
And
little bit out.
a little bit. Yeah.
That's live performance
Singers
for you.
sing flat
Some of the
sometimes.
best singers in the world. You know, she's
Yep.
a phenomenal singer.
Absolutely.
We can already tell. I can already. I'm very much enjoying this.
Yeah. So
Someone-
yeah. See,
it happens.
it does
It
happen.
happens. I forgot something else I was going to say because it was something like that.
Got their dues to pay.
Oh, pay. Look at her mouth.
Mhm.
Look at her mouth. It's easy to see. Yeah.
We're always going to
Right.
talk about vowels.
Forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it can be said enough. I mean, every time I say it, I still have to think it. I still have to
Absolutely.
do it. I still have to
Always.
reinforce it. I still have
Yes.
to remind myself that how I'm hearing something is not actually as bright or bad sounding as I think it does.
Right. Or as other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that this is how people have big, efficient, you know, strong voices. Whenever you
Yes.
hear somebody who says like, "Oh man, they've got just a killer voice," you know, they got pipes, they got, you know,
Right.
their voice is huge. That's vowels. That's efficiency. That's all that kind of
It's
stuff.
resonance. Yeah.
It's resonance. Yeah.
Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes or where it goes. I know it's everybody's sin. You got to lose to know how to win. Half my life's in books, written pages. Lived and learned from fools and
Ooh. Land. I gotta listen to the Lived and Learned one more time.
lived and learned from
Land. Ooh. Learned. Learned.
That was
That's
a
such
beautiful
hard,
vowel.
Oh, it's so good. But it's not learned and it's not Land, right? There is an R in there, but it's not. It's so subtle and it's so perfect. Lived and learned. Ooh, that's so good.
Good. And I feel like she's definitely, it kind of adds to the style that they're trying to do. Like these are obviously like covers in a style of popular songs. So I think she's also adjusting and modifying her vowels to sound like
rocky
the time.
Bit,
no,
like...
I would say opposite. I was going to say like big band jazzy. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. I think that is just a good way to sing
all the time.
In any
yes.
way.
Anytime. Yes.
Unless you wanted it to be like learned like country. Or something like that.
Well, maybe they'll do a country cover one day.
From fools and from sages, you know it's true. All the things come down to you. Sing with me, sing for the years, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears. Sing with me just for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord take you
Wow.
I can't. It's like I can't even open my eyes.
I know. I know.
I get this from my dad. My dad does this when he just like really wants to listen to something. He closes his eyes, and I am so serious. I couldn't not close my. Gosh. It was so much to take in. That is so amazing. I want to point out one thing. There's 1,000 things to point out, but I will refrain to pointing out one thing. Watch her breath. Watch here. Watch her shoulders.
You can even see her stomach.
You can see her stomach, and that's actually a really great thing. So, she just drops it and has that, I like to think of a balloon having a constant, you're not pushing on it and you're not like trying to hold it open. You're just letting it come together. And she's using that. So sing for the her voice is in a nice, relaxed spot. All she's doing is giving it nice, consistent air and letting vibrato, letting the tone, having resonance, letting all that stuff happen naturally, right? She's not working crazy hard. She's just giving it air, supporting it, and it does whatever she wants it to do. So that's what I want you to watch. We're going to rewatch this for just this little section. And I want you to watch her shoulders, her neck, and her belly. Shoulders and neck aren't moving. Her belly is open. It gets, she takes in air and then she uses it.
I want to add something to your things that you're watching for. I want you to maybe not watch but more listen to the vowels, because all of this line is so bright and like forwardly placed is what I'm going to say. Yep. Just listen to that.
That's that resonance though that we're talking about.
So good.
Even that big, fast-moving kind of part, she never gets. She just breathes. Low breath, low breath, low breath.
Bass.
That's the cello.
Oh. Well, I heard the bass in the back.
The bass is also playing, yes. She's saying dream
She's
on.
saying two different
She's saying
vowels.
on in
And
two different ways. On, own. On, own. I want you to listen to the difference between the two. No, it's not better or worse.
Right.
You just have to decide which one
There's
you're
just
going to do.
different vowels.
They're different vowels, and they're gonna do different things. They're
Yeah.
gonna react different ways. They're
Yeah.
gonna be, one might be easier to sing, one might be harder to sing, one might
usually
be
why you choose
naturally
them.
kind of
Yeah.
louder, one might be naturally like a little bit
Yes.
less efficient. So, vowel. This is
Yeah.
why we talk so much about vowels.
Vowels.
Opinion alert.
No, I know. Yeah.
Opinion alert. This is my opinion. This is not to say something, we try not to say something is good or bad. But I will say I'm not a huge fan of the straight tone.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't know why she's choosing
long,
that.
straight tone ones that, I think I'm naturally, though, a fan of vibrato. So this is me acknowledging I'm trying to acknowledge my own bias.
Yes.
I think that straight tone is really hard to tune.
Yes.
And when you're really getting after it,
yeah.
vibrato helps you kind of fudge the tuning a little bit.
Well, I think it
you're
helps you
always
sit in
you're always
place, yeah.
kind of in tune. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you're trying to straight tone something,
you got to be
just
right.
a little bit off, and it's like way more noticeable.
I totally agree. And I feel like what's interesting, I feel like she's chosen this a few times in the song. Normally, like in classical music, it's like all vibrato. In musical theater, it's like straight tone to vibrato. There's not a lot of places I hear just straight tone, except for like choral. Like, you know what I mean? Like in choral singing. But that's not what we're talking about. She's not even going to the vibrato.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really interesting choice. Like, I don't know why she's choosing that. I mean, one day maybe
She's
we'll
an
ask
artist.
her.
She
can
gets
choose
to-
that.
she gets to
Maybe
choose whatever
she
she
did it
wants.
on accident. Maybe she couldn't get there. Maybe she freaked out and your brain stops working and you do what you're going to do.
This is live performance.
Who knows?
I think that she's making a choice here, because this is the other thing about when you're, an artist, you kind of want to change it up. You want to be different. You want to push the envelope.
This is a pretty interesting cover anyway.
They're trying to push the boundaries a little bit, and that's why it doesn't make sense to say things are good or bad.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter. Like, it's good to something to somebody could be bad to something to somebody else.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't matter. Because what you like and what other people like are going to be different.
Right. And I think us explaining our preferences, I think, help a little bit, because the reason we don't prefer the straight tone is because you kind of lack intonation and resonance sometimes. That's what I think.
It's just more difficult.
It's more difficult, but I think as a listener, for me, even if she had been perfectly in tune, I would have been super impressed. But I still think I prefer, because I know I hear it.
It's kind of what I expect.
Yeah. And so that's my preference. My preference is not only because I think that it is easier to do as a singer, but also because it feels like you're more in tune. You have a different resonance.
I love her vibrato.
You know what I mean?
Too.
Exactly.
It's like I kind of want it a little
so
bit.
yeah, but yes, it is a preferred sound.
Yeah. But some other people might, love
disagree.
that specifically, and
Totally.
like that's their favorite part about the performance. And so that's why it's like saying things are right or wrong or good or bad. It's like it's really
pointless.
it's pointless.
Okay, let's just rewind it a little bit. I want to hear that high part again.
You can even hear it kind of.
Oh yeah.
She's trying to tune. Right. It's.
Right?
Yeah. Sure.
But I can't like straight tone that. How did dra? So what does she do? She doesn't do an E. Hold on, sorry.
It's almost like A.
I still can't really do it without vibratoing at the end.
And I think that she's probably really loud.
She's super duper loud.
You're kind of
compressing it.
But
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
This is wild.
This is wild.
Yeah, it's cool though. I don't know. I love her vibrato.
Right, me too. I would love. Yeah, I love it.
Sing with me, just for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away.
Very cool. Amazing.
Super duper cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, there were things that I expected and things that I did not expect. So that was a very surprising performance.
Sure.
You know, you go in expecting something from a performer that you've heard or you know, and sometimes they surprise you. And I was surprised a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that's always kind of a double-edged sword. Like,
of course.
It could be,
yes.
You know, whenever I was thinking about this morning, some of my favorite artists have released albums, you know, Casey Musgraves.
Yes.
Chris Stapleton.
Yep.
Those are two, you know, those are both country, which is kind of funny that we said that. But anyway,
country. Yeah.
Loved them. Or love them.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of their latest albums.
Absolutely.
And it could be for some other people, that could be their favorite albums. You know what I mean? So it's like artists, I think, have to try and do what they got to do. You know, if they are feeling inspired in a certain direction that's not in the same like musical flavor as what they've done previously, that's actually the same. You know, who thinks the same and is the same person that they were 5 years ago or 3 years ago. You know, we're changing all the time. So to expect the same thing every time,
absolutely,
you know, is a little bit, you know, it doesn't give
unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. It doesn't give the artist space to grow and change and do things they want to do.
And that's ultimately what they are, right? As artists, like sure we have technical skills, or sure like they can do things and perform
or
stuff.
Have specialties,
right? Have specialties. Music is art, and I think that it's up to artists to make that choice of what they're looking to communicate. And so, even though they have technical skills or they do things that have right and wrong, when you bring art into it and you are doing it for the sake of art, you have all of the options and it's completely up to you. Yeah. So
that's actually it's almost more difficult when you can do everything.
Absolutely.
You have to decide what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Like people who shred on guitar, but then they choose, like one of the things that people talk about is they choosing your notes and not playing all the notes.
Just ripping all the time.
Not just because you can, you know what I mean? It's about being tasteful, but it's also about kind of pushing the envelope, and that's a hard line to walk.
Absolutely. And I think artists always grow too. Like you'll see artists who push the limits, and then they'll come out with an album that's like stripped.
Back to basics.
Exactly. And that's like, it's a common thing to see, or opposite or backward, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's just like the whole journey of being an artist and a creative.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love listening to other singers do the thing that we love doing.
Yeah.
You know, we all love singing. I love listening to people sing.
Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. If we made an album and we made choices musically that some people didn't like, that's fine. It was my choice. You know, it was your choice to make. You know, if she says, well, no, I did my straight tone thing and I liked it. It doesn't matter what we think because we're not the artists doing it, right? I think it's a cool thing that we should celebrate, but it's also like something that if something's not your taste, it doesn't mean that it's bad. And changing kind of the language of how we talk about things being good or bad or right or wrong, you know, could be beneficial for everybody. You know, saying that somebody's a good singer or a bad singer. Well, if they sing and they do it in a way that works really well with the music, what does that, you know, does that mean that they're a good singer? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just a good song, or maybe it's just, you know, something that isn't your taste, or it is your taste. So I don't know. I love these conversations about kind of, you know, because it's ultimately it's inclusivity. It's allowing other people to have preferences, allowing artists to try new things, and it's not making judgment calls of things being good or bad. Well, even with that long-winded ramble of thoughts, we hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. We make new videos like this every week. We are Chase and Melia. We'll see you soon.